Today is December 25th, 2022. It has now been 5 years since I joined the Minecraft server known as 2b2t.org. This event changed my life. Some ways for the better, some ways for the worse. But why did I join? And what has happened since? You can probably tell that this video is very long, and these questions may not be answered enough for your liking. But it is the video I wanted to make, and therefore I have made it. There will also be this annoying text-to-speech voice, so consider yourself a survivor if you manage to sit through the entire thing. But first, before we can answer why I would join the server 2b2t.org, we must discuss why I play the game Minecraft itself. Out of any game, it is undefeated as the video game I have spent the most time on. Why did I get Minecraft? As someone with autism, yes, I actually have it. I have always liked Lego, and Minecraft is basically virtual Lego without having to pay for plastic and destroy your nails. You can essentially create whatever you want, and the blocky design makes it really easy. I play Minecraft to build things. What I want to build can vary. And I always come back to the game for one reason or another. I first heard about Minecraft sometime in 2010 to 2012, but I'm not exactly sure when. I played it a few times on other people's computers and phones, before ultimately purchasing the Pocket Edition on October 12, 2012. This is the creation date of my oldest MCPE world, but I played on the light version before then. As an avid archivist, I still have these worlds saved. Unlike average YouTube commenters who seem to have a habit of losing their worlds a lot. After playing MCPE for a while, I obviously had to get the superior PC version. My first Java Edition account was purchased on November 7, 2012. For the following months I spent most of my time playing creative mode and building random things, as that is the reason I wanted to play. Nevertheless, building in single player has no real challenge, and everything you build is stuck on your own world, unable to be visited by others. It is essentially like scribbling in MS Paint and then forgetting about it on a hard drive. Who knows what creations lay dormant simply because they were never shared. I started playing on servers with IRL friends. For the next 3 years I jumped around on what likely was hundreds of unique servers. Each time I saved the IP in the server list. Most are numerical IP addresses, from random children who spammed in chats of other servers begging others to join. These servers understandably rarely lasted longer than a week, most shutting down very quickly. I always disliked this, since I wanted my builds to stay. Of course, the owners realized running a Minecraft server 24/7 on their Windows Vista wasn't the ideal purpose of their laptops. The only servers that lasted a bit longer were large networks such as MC Origins and It's Jerry and Harry. Speaking of which, It's Jerry and Harry was the last of my old servers to go down, resetting its creative world in September 2018, 5 years after it started. Due to being absolute chads, they released world downloads for each of the 3 creative worlds they had. Sadly, they cannot be downloaded anymore. But I'm pretty sure some people have them saved. I have number 2 downloaded since it's the one I played on. You might be wondering why I have been rambling about irrelevant servers that have nothing to do with 2b2t. Well, it's necessary to understand how I got here. After getting tired of servers shutting down, and almost every IRL person I knew abandoning Minecraft because internet told them it was cringe, I ceased playing multiplayer altogether, opting instead for single player, and my own realm. This was back when I played new versions, so paying Mojang to host a world with built-in backups felt like a good idea. I played on my own technical-oriented survival realm right up until 1.13 came out, which I still haven't properly updated to for various reasons. I should probably mention that during all this I have watched an unhealthy amount of Minecraft YouTube. However, only two have stuck through the years: Ethos Slab and Stamsite. These two are the only large-scale YouTubers I know of that have stuck with the same Minecraft world and content since the first generation of Minecraft YouTubers and continue to do so. There are other smaller ones too, like Mogswamp, but I wasn't aware of them until more recently. I would recommend you watch these YouTubers, by the way. You have likely never heard of Stamsite, a Swedish Minecraft YouTuber most famous for running the 90GQ server, which is a private Swedish survival server that has been running on the same map since October 2010. Yes, it is older than 2b2t. Due to being private, most of the server has stayed the same for over 12 years now, though the spawn region has a habit of buildings being replaced because older ones generally look ugly. I'll be linking a map of the server in the description. I mention this because it is quite likely that I saw the Camping Russia's 2b2t video but stopped when he claimed a server from December 2010 was the oldest server in Minecraft, since I knew of 90GQ. Though, I do not know if this happened, as it would have been over 6 years ago. It is funny to think about, though. My confirmed first memory with 2b2t was from seeing the FitMC video about Pop Bob. In this video, as in standard FitMC fashion, he over-dramatizes everything to a comical degree. But I was very intrigued. He talked about a server that had been running for years, with bases being built in 2011 and still standing. I cautiously began to watch more videos, trying to make sense of what the server was, but became unsatisfied due to how little he explained. Most of his videos just consisted of throwaway lines about things he never explained. This is smart content to lure in new viewers and make them want more, without having to properly research or explain things thoroughly. I never took them at face value, as he also claimed 2b2t was the oldest server, since I knew it wasn't. I don't remember when I found the video, but it must have been before February 2017, since I was aware of his channel and actively anticipated new videos by then. Throughout 2017 I watched many 2b2t YouTubers, with the most prominent one being Tarogadude. Newer players might not know him, since he privated all his videos a few years ago. The one 2b2t video he does have left I highly recommend you watch. Some of his music is used later on in this video, which I also recommend you listen to on his Tarogadude's channel. I also lurked on the subreddit, which at that point was an actual representation of the server and not as brain dead as it is now. In late 2017, Mojang announced the update Aquatic, which I greatly disliked from the first showcase. Water mechanics were going to be greatly reworked. Additionally, 1.13 had many snapshots which had completely trolled many useful mechanics such as sticky pistons dropping blocks. Since I played on my realm back then, I decided that when 1.13 released I would stop, since realms always update. 1.13 was scheduled to come out in late 2017, with the aquatic features instead being added as 1.14 in spring 2018. It was then that I decided to finally join 2b2t.org. I had held out for a long time because I wanted to buy a new Minecraft account for it, as to not be able to be tracked down to anything I had done earlier. I chose the name Drabant_ost, which is a Swedish name for a particular type of cheese. Then finally, on December 25, 2017, at 17:56 and 50 seconds, I joined 2b2t.org. Position in queue, 33. What you are seeing are my first 2B2T screenshots of the first 3 days. The starter base shown here still exists on the server, and has been improved by others for its 5-year existence. No other server I have ever joined has had one of my builds last this long, and I think many other Minecraft players feel this way too. Now that you know the story of me joining, let's explain why 2B2T is the server I play. But why did I join 2B2T? As I previously mentioned, I spent most of my Minecraft time by hopping around random servers, who all shut down very quickly. When I didn't, I played on single player and built whatever I liked. Even though I tried, I could never put in enough time on either. Single player feels too easy and pointless. There's a reason many players challenge themselves in various ways. And I wouldn't want to build on survival servers either, since they all either shut down or reset the world. But not 2B2T. 2B2T is founded on the principle of never resetting the world. If I build something, it will remain. Someone else could find and destroy it, but I am perfectly fine with the possibility. If a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it make a sound? Same can be said about Minecraft. If you build something and no one sees it, what was the point? Your own personal satisfaction of completion? You get the same from Anarchy multiplayer. If whoever found it griefs it, you still get your personal satisfaction from the building process itself. What is the difference then? In both cases you got the same kick out of building, but the difference is that on 2B2T it will stay a part of the server's history forever, even if it's griefed. Ruins will remain, world downloads will be made. The time it was ungriefed will be outmatched by the time it will be griefed, but many will still view it as it was intended. Many people cannot understand this, but it is my opinion. Some people may try to roast the server by claiming it is single player with chat and lag. And I agree, but I do not agree that this is negative. 2B2T is a collection of many players' own single player playthroughs, all occupying the same vast world. Do you want to start your own survival server? It can be done on 2B2T. Cooperation is easy when everyone already occupies the same space. Players can come together and explore and build and create anything they like. And once they're gone, others can explore their remains and hear about the stories of old. You simply can't get this by playing on your own world. 2B2T is experienced as single player while being multiplayer. Players don't meet each other. And when they do so in smaller groups. Most bases are millions of blocks from spawn, and are intended for no one to find. But there is still a chance for it. People can travel to find others. Whatever we build will become part of the server. 2B2T in its essence is a collection of single-player LAN worlds. Instead of being a singular community, it is hundreds. Every group base is its own small server, and every solo base is its own single-player world. The possibilities are endless. And yet we are all connected. Some will try to stay out of sight for years, others will want to be found. Some never get found, others do. The feeling you get when you discover a sign wall hundreds of thousands of blocks out is unchallenged. 2B2T is Minecraft as it was meant to be. Interconnected players all with the ability to collaborate and to do whatever they want. There are no rules. Everyone will have their own experience, different from everyone else. Your experience will leave lasting change to the world we inhabit together. Everyone has the same ability to play together while still being on the server itself. 2B2T gives purpose to private worlds, it gives purpose to Minecraft as a game. Anything you could want in Minecraft is possible on the server. Some of the servers I used to play on were factions servers. This means that players could claim land which became ungriefable by others. I disliked this. I could never figure out how land claiming worked, and when I tried to use it, people managed to raid me anyways. To combat this, I usually swam for thousands of blocks in the old 1.6 oceans. Or I would hide underground. I was basically playing Anarchy by myself, on faction servers. Essentially, I was unofficially playing 2B2T. The gameplay I did back then is still the same as now, just that I go farther. My first 2B2T starter base still stands 5 years later, and has been improved and rebuilt by others passing by. The same cannot be said about any other server. 2B2T is the only Minecraft server I actively play. 2B2T is Minecraft for me. What I want to do in Minecraft, I do on 2B2T. I don't see a reason for me to do it anywhere else. I strongly dislike versions above 1.13, and 2B2T is still on 1.12. No other server gives me the freedom 2B2T does, while also never having the possibility of preventing me from playing through banning. One of the principles of the server is that it never resets, so I have all the time in the world to accomplish my wants. Sure, there are other Anarchy servers, but none come close to 2B2T in its player count, age, or financial stability to keep running. This is why I will never quit. 2B2T will always continue. Therefore, I will always come back. Most players I have met have quit over the years, due to them fulfilling all their reasons for joining. But I don't have a goal. I joined to play Minecraft, and if I play Minecraft, I will play 2B2T. I joined the server on Christmas Day 2017, but this actually had nothing to do with Christmas. Here in Sweden we celebrate on the 24th. The reason I joined on Christmas Day was partially because I wanted to join in 2017, and because someone I knew IRL was bored and wanted to play something, so I suggested to join 2B2T. They have long since quit if you want to know. It took me 11 minutes to join the server through the queue. This might seem strange today, but it was common for the server to be at 0 queue for long periods of time. 35 was in the upper limits of peak hours during this time. I seem to have escaped spawn deathless, as evident by the log files. This is easier than what most people think, if you know what you're doing. My first week I spent on a starter base around 50k out, before moving on to an actual base farther out. I manually traveled around 30,000 blocks on the Nether Highway on January 2, 2018 to where my main base of the next year would be. The base mostly consisted of an AFK fishing setup, but also my first ever map art, the famous 2007 Mean Romantic Look. This base was partially griefed back in July 2018 because of the no-com exploit, but I recovered quite easily. Still salty about all the ink sacks I lost though. Could have made my life so much easier later on. It was around this time that 1.13 finally released, and people anticipated the update greatly. I had even been discussing in chat with people about there being an eventual 1.13 dupe, which would have been the first one in a year. Some players even began building empty chests to store their future riches, unaware that the update never came. But still, there were plenty of dupes to be had. I like to distinguish post-Russia culture into two eras, the era of dupes, and the era without dupes. The first major dupe in recent history was the drop dupe, referred to by some as the 1111 dupe. This dupe allowed post-Russia players to quickly become very rich. A few months later another major dupe was made public, the Donkey Portal dupe. A third major dupe, which was the most powerful dupe in 2B2T history, the stacking dupe, was only active for a few hours, so it didn't contribute to the wealth of that many players. 3 public major dupes in the span of 8 months was unheard of for the server, and the effects could be felt for years to come. I, of course, joined afterwards and never got to use them. Instead, there was a drought of public major dupes for over a year, with the next big one happening in summer 2018. This was my first chance to use a dupe, namely the first Donkey D-Sync dupe. However, it required priority queue and 2 accounts to be efficient, so I decided to not use it. I did have 2 accounts on 2B2T, having bought the YQE account in March 2018 after getting interested in 3-letter names and manually hand-sniping it, but I never tried this donkey dupe. But I didn't have to wait for long until the next dupe came along. 10th of November 2018, Earth Computer posts a video titled Chunk Save Estates and Item Duping. This was essentially a way to save a state a chunk, and then dupe everything inside it. And all it required were a few books. I instantly loaded up both my accounts and started AFK fishing for weeks. To craft book and quills you need ink sacks, and since squids almost never spawn, you can only really get them through a rare fishing drop. After a while, Housemaster made it so that books that went through hoppers were deleted. I was unaware of methods to use the dupe without hoppers, so without having gotten enough ink sacks yet to test, I concluded that the dupe wasn't possible anymore. This could be where my 2B2D story ends, but little did I know what would happen next. Let's back up a bit. During my sparked interest in 3-letter names months earlier, I discovered the website NameMC, a Minecraft API parser with way too many ads. I searched around for random names, when I found that the name Xweez was soon available. This was the name of another Swedish Minecraft YouTuber. His account had the name Xweez_ due to the regular name already being taken. But randomly in 2018, the owner of the name Xweez changed it. I knew I had to take it, but someone else got it before me. It had been available for 2 days but wasn't sniped until literally the hour I was going to take it. Very unlucky. I had already bought a gift code, so a while later I claimed the name 2B2T_org on it as a joke. Of course, I joined the server with it to troll the chat a bit. This was just after a several-day-long thunderstorm had hit the server, presumably to resupply the server with skeleton horses, after thunder had been disabled for a long time. I just so happened to find 2 skeleton horses when randomly traveling with the 2B2T_org account, so I hopped on one of them and logged out, since horses can log out with players. Funnily enough, the person who took the name Xweez changed it again, so eventually I did get the name. Now for the moment that paved the way to change my life. I was under the impression that if you broke your bed and died, you would respawn at spawn. And if you then placed back your bed, you could start respawning at it again. This was old behavior that had been removed from the game, but I didn't know that. So unknowingly on December 26, 2018, I sent the YQE account back to spawn. I had wanted to make it meet up with my Xweez account, but now with no way to get back to my base with YQE without traveling the long way, I began to wander around spawn to explore for the next couple days. During my travels, I met a player named Dame Gamer, who I spent 2 days with basically no life in the spawn region. This is some of the best times I have had on the server, and I really wish I had saved some contact information with them. If you are watching this video, please get in touch. But this is not the moment that changed my life. That moment would be when _Quaterpidgeo_ messaged me wanting to team on January 2, 2019. He had found someone's stash and got 32 Ks. He also told me to get Discord. And I did. Yes, me getting Discord changed my life. Not sure for the better or for the worse, but I actively know life on Discord to this day, and had I not gotten it, I think my life would be very different now. What followed was a long VC where we met up and intertispeeded to his group base. He told me if I went I would get illegals, which never actually happened. He did give me unbreakable armor and tools though. During the VC, he told me that I had a rare username and that he would buy it. Somehow the discussion went to Armorsmith, who was spamming in chat. I said that Armor Smith had 50 accounts, at what point _Quaterpidgeo_ claimed to also have 50 accounts. I jokingly asked if I could get some, so he went ahead and sent login details to about 15 NFAs. This becomes very important later. Yes, these were stolen accounts and were rightfully claimed back within a few months, but I don't remember if I knew this or not. We went to his base, did stuff, and then he quit the server, no joke, the next day. We did voice chat a bit more though. At one point he told me about this streamer called Oxyène, who had a Minecraft server for a stream. We joined and played a bit, and I started lava casting as the true 2B2T player I am. Of course, lava casting on this potato the server was incredibly laggy, so some of the players who apparently had admin decided to ban me. But since as I had just obtained 15 accounts, I instantly started ban evading on them, though after like 6 of them someone remembered IP banning exists. I couldn't bother continuing after that. The next day, DigMC was live streaming at spawn with his group BSB. Due to the ban evading earlier, I was logged in the launcher to the account Trung 1019, so I thought I might as well try to steal some stuff from the live stream. My actual accounts were all hundreds of thousands of blocks from spawn, so I didn't want to use them. During the stream I managed to steal a stacked totem shulker and some pickaxes, but that's about it. For the next few weeks I continued my spawn exploring, but now on Trung 1019, I stole some more shulkers from spawn PvPers who didn't know that I, some random naked, had good stuff in my chest ready to kill them instantly when they geared up. On January 13, 2019, a player named Robot Chikens messaged me telling me to join their Discord server. They wanted me to invite others, and for every 15 people I invited I would get free stuff. As I was in need of gear, I of course did so. At first I began spamming invites in chat on multiple accounts, then I trapped new players and told them to join the Discord to let them out. Later I just realized I could create fake accounts. After getting 15 invites I chose some illegal shulkers that I wanted, and we went to meet up. However, Robot Chikens would instead mistake me for another customer, and handed me tons of other illegals and even dupe books. After realizing his mistake, he then told me I could keep the stuff, and he even gave me a tutorial on how to dupe. I now had the chunk dupe. My first stash was created on January 19, 2019, and was 17k from spawn. After creating a few more stashes, I moved around 300k blocks away and began working on a several hundred dub one. It became way too boring to move inventories of shulkers at a time, so I stopped when it was only around 100 dubs large. First world 2B2T problems. Instead I wanted to create some more map art. I built the famous thinking emoji, which is now my Discord profile picture. In order to distribute my map art, I went back to spawn to put it up. During this I joined a server called the Rimland Republic, which was a spawn base group consisting of mostly new players. We had very fun VCs and I was the supplier of dupe books to them. One of the owners pinged everyone saying whoever taught them how to dupe would get high ranking roles. I did just that, and because of it I was invited to their group bases. The bases didn't last that long, but it was fun for a bit. In February, I decided to head farther out from spawn to establish a main base for my map art. But before that, I wanted to quickly remake the team veteran flag as map art. I went a few thousand of a diagonal highway to an ocean and began building. It then turned into more flags, and then even more map art. I duped one large chest of each map material so I wouldn't have to dupe everything each time. Chunk dupe had been functional for 3 months at this point and was thought by many to be impossible to patch. But then suddenly Housemaster managed to do it. Since I had all my map materials in this location, I stayed there and didn't move away. I continued making map art, and even joined the map art Discord, which I am still the most active person in. The 1.13 update was being estimated in February, then mid-February, then March, and then it just stopped completely. The reason I didn't care that the base was close to a highway was because 1.13 would remove map resets, and 1.14 snapshots added map locking. I built maps there for around 3 months before deciding to move to a more secure location. This was when donkey desync duping had become popular again due to new methods, so I wanted to do a fresh start with a new stash. In the summer of 2019, Housemaster announced that entity speed would be patched. Immediately I went back on my YQE account that had laid dormant for half a year and began making a mad dash on a highway. I got to around 2.8 million overworld when entity speed was patched. Earlier I had gotten a friend, Orange, to snipe the name YQR on an account which he then gave to me. I wanted to get 2 accounts to my new base in order to be able to move to and from spawn with pearling, but entity speed was patched when only 1 account was far out. Luckily though, normal speed hacking worked after the patch, so I just speed hacked away on it. For the following 3 months I used Baritone to create a complex network of chunk trails to throw off potential base hunters. Few people know this, but exiting a nether portal generates a massive square of chunks, which makes it trivial to find where people have put their portals. I knew of a workaround to this, which no one else publicly knew of at the time. I went way overkill on the base hiding and it paid off. No one found the base until August 2022, and they only did because of unrelated reasons. My base survived every major exploit for 3 years, including 2020 authentication exploit, NOCOM, Log4j, and more. In November to December 2019, I spent all my free time donkey duping. I wanted to be set for years on this base, and therefore duped more than I would ever use. I probably never used more than 5% of this stash, before it was stolen in August 2022. On December 20, 2019, Housemaster patched illegals almost entirely. This was a week after I had finished duping, and I'm very thankful for it. Because of this I am one of the few players to still have illegals, and I even have Unbreakable Armor named after YQE. My base was never used for that much, only serving as a location for me to build more map art or experiment with illegals. For 2020 I instead focused on builds closer to spawn. Anyone who was in the 2B2T map art Discord in 2019 knows of the legendary voice chats that occurred there. I recorded most of them, and I might link some in the description. They consisted of a group of players who gathered to talk about basically anything for hours. One of these players, Villicool112, decided to create a new server to host these voice chats in. He made it themed around worshipping crafting tables as a joke. We continued doing voice chats in there for a few months. More and more players were invited, mostly because we snatched the Discord vanity URL discord.gg/2b2t. The next step were group bases, of course being based on crafting tables. The arguably most successful one was when we replaced every natural block on an entire island with crafting tables, to mimic the Valley of Wheat. There was even a FitMC video made about this. After the Fit video the group kind of completely died. Voice chats as good as those in 2019 have never recovered, but a few attempts have been made. To participate in the Valley project, I needed a new spawn account. The NFAs I got in January were all claimed back, so I bought a real account instead. I chose the name Cause Baby Tonight, aka the funniest name in existence. With this new spawn account, I created my most famous solo project, the YQE Void Chunk. I've always been interested in technical-oriented Minecraft mechanics, and especially things you are normally not supposed to be able to do. Since 2b2t is an anarchy server, most of the biggest landmarks are the ungriefable ones, such as the Bedrock Comet or the various spawned logos. The Psycraft server had recently finished a 1000 by 1000 void perimeter, and I wanted to make something similar. Of course, 1000 by 1000 is infeasible with 2B2T's redstone plugins and render distance. Instead, I opted to go as small as one chunk. Dragon Egg bedrock breaking had already been patched for years, so I had to resort to the manual piston method. I was aware of the nether portal method, but I hadn't done much research about it and figured it took too long to set up just for one chunk. This was just when the 100k world download was made public, so I used it to find the chunk with the least amount of bedrock, to make it as quick as possible. The chunk is around 10,240x-5400Z. I spent an entire week removing the bedrock, and the finished product is very cool in my opinion, and you can still visit it to this day. After finishing the one chunk, I wanted to go bigger and began working on a 3x3 chunk one. I dug out the entire area, but never got started on the actual bedrock removal. I'm not sure why, but I think my motivation of playing the server had ran out. At this point 2B2T had been my main interest for over a year. After my post about the void chunk had gotten big on the subreddit, other people took after and began removing bedrock by themselves. Armorsmith made his logo in the end bedrock, which was instantly griefed by other players. Months later, a group of players began systematically destroying the entire bedrock comet, a very famous 2B2T landmark. By August it was entirely gone. Most players on the server disliked this, and thus spammed Housemaster to patch bedrock breaking. Rumors started that he was going to do it, so I emailed asking about it. He responded with that bedrock breaking was indeed to be patched, but also that void holes would be filled in. Immediately within a day I rushed to make a YouTube video about my void chunk, and made coordinates public so that at least some players could experience it before it was griefed by the server admin. Something I knew wouldn't be filled in was the bedrock in the end. Years ago, the end on 2B2T got a bedrock sheet at the bottom of the world due to a broken plugin. It would be exceptionally stupid for Housemaster to start filling in the end too, so I figured that anything void related would best be done here. I quickly rushed to carve YQE in the bedrock with small letters. I then removed the bedrock at the coordinates 69,420 as a joke. A few days after my email, piston bedrock breaking still worked, so I started working on a larger YQE void. Being the troll Housemaster is, he patched piston bedrock breaking just as I was in the middle of creating this. You can head to these coordinates to look at the failed YQE to this day. Funnily enough, Housemaster didn't fill in every void hole. What he did was manually fill in at 00, but every other place survived. He also only patched piston bedrock breaking, but not other methods like nether portals. Nether portal bedrock breaking works due to the fact that when new nether portals are being created, they replace 4 blocks in the ground. This can include bedrock. The problem with it is that you need to cover all the possible spawning spaces and also remove any other portals in the area. This method does not work in the end for obvious reasons, but it does in the overworld and nether. Since it still worked, I told it to no one and kept it secret for over a year. Even though it was technically public already, barely anyone on 2B2T knew about it. With the bedrock breaking patch came other patches, most notably Elytra flying hacks. People began looking for other fast travel methods, and turned to boats. Boat flying had been possible for several years, but very few had the clients to properly use it. But now it started spreading due to being added to most popular clients. One 2B2T player, Lamp, who was a part of the 100k download, thought that this could be used to finish it to the original intended 150k size. Since I independently came up with the same idea, and even told him to do it earlier, he invited me to the project. After a month boat flying got patched, but a workaround was quickly discovered and we could continue downloading. This bypass worked by leaving and entering the boat in quick succession. Since we were the only people who knew about it, we could download a lot more. Eventually everything within 200k was completed and previous chunks within 100k had also been re-downloaded. People began downloading up to 256k. Most of this was done between November 2020 and February 2021, at what point certain people just vanished along with their data. Growing tired of this, me and a few other members just went ahead and re-downloaded their sections to finish it. Shout out to Turbine for financing priority queue for me during the project. Using this priority queue, I could join the largest group base in 2B2T history, Rat House. While I was there I built a memorial for the 10th anniversary of Captain Sparkle's Revenge music video, and I also created the famous Among Us crewmate-shaped void hole, using the nether portal bedrock breaking method. But this wasn't the only thing I used portal bedrock breaking for. You see, in 2021 I did something a little more special. Where have I been for the last 2 years? Most people I talk to probably think I quit the server and only stay on Discord. My YouTube channel really only uploads old recordings I find on my hard drive, and I haven't made that many new map arts in a while. To be real, I've made something and kept it secret for a long time now. I have created what I might consider to be the greatest project in 2B2T history. Let me show you. What you are seeing is the culmination of over a year of work, and 51,254 total removed bedrock, over the span of 5 months. Every single block in a 130 by 130 square has been removed, other than 2 spawners. I have created Skyblock on 2b2t.org. This void hole is so massive that standing in the middle, you cannot see the walls due to 2b2t's short render distance. Since this is technically at my base, I sadly won't be able to show that many progress screenshots, as coordinates can be found through them. But believe me, this place does exist. To showcase it, I will be streaming at it next week, on January 2nd, 2023. But how did this happen? It all began shortly after finishing my first void chunk. I jokingly told some people that it would be possible to do Skyblock in it, as the Psycrafters planned to do. Later on I thought about it more seriously, how cool it would be. Psycraft made a 1000 by 1000 void, which completely covered the maximum render distance. But 2b2t only has a render distance of 7 by 7 chunks. In Minecraft, each layer of a chunk has decreasing amounts of bedrock. The bottom layer is 100%, which is always 256 bedrock. The next layer is 80%, which on average is 205. Next is 60%, etc. In total a chunk therefore has on average 768 bedrock blocks. This means that a full 2b2t render distance, being 7 by 7, aka 49 chunks, has on average 37,632 bedrock. That's more than 12 times the size the bedrock comet was in 2017, and that took dozens of players months to get rid of. This project would require a lot of planning in order to not waste time doing it inefficiently. Originally, I was considering using redstone machines to create a void this large. But there is no way that they would have functioned with the redstone plugins 2b2t have. Then when the piston bedrock breaking patch happened, I thought the opportunity had passed. But one thing was in the back of my mind: the nether portal method. I had always discarded it because of the massive setup time required. Nether portal, search 128 blocks for other portals, and then 33 by 33 for spawnable space. Clearing out this large of an area for a small project takes way too long. But an area as large as 7 by 7 chunks would make the setup time negligible compared to the bedrock breaking time. Since no one else on 2B2T had used this method in public before, I was confident I could sink time into it without worrying about it being discovered and patched. After a few months had passed from the patch, and house still hadn't filled in all the void holes, I reckoned it was time to start the project. But I couldn't do it alone. I gathered some of the players I trusted the most, and scouted out an area. It shouldn't contain too much lava, as removing lava is annoying. I also wanted to have a good grass color, but also the ability to get snow. Additionally, if there were spawners within the area, they would greatly help the eventual skyblock playthrough due to the low spawn rates of mobs on 2B2T. I decided to increase the size to 8 by 8 chunks instead of 7 by 7, so it could work as a map art, which as of recording looks like this. Void has the same color as stone, which is kinda dumb, but it's still cool. The project started on April 20, 2021, and the first bedrock blocks were removed on April 24, 2021. For the next 5 months I went all in on this project. During the month of August I estimate I spent over 300 hours on it. But at the start I didn't fully commit to it that much though. Until suddenly. July 27, 2021, Sky_Play_373 uploads a video where they use the portal bedrock breaking method to destroy the bedrock dam, another famous build. This made me instantly panic, as it meant that others will find out about the portal method, and thus it wouldn't be long until it was patched. I was only 20% done with the void at this time. I immediately contacted the uploader telling them to delete the video as to not get it patched, and surprisingly they did. What I didn't anticipate is that they would later team up with another player and start a group focusing on removing bedrock structures. I knew it wouldn't be long until the method was leaked to the public and thus be patched, so I no-lifed the hardest I have ever no-lifed. Less than 3 weeks after the dam was destroyed, the method was leaked in multiple YouTube videos. Not long after that I finished removing all the bedrock, with the last block being broken on September 12, 2021, at 12:13 UTC. I had done it. During the project some other less than ideal things occurred. First off, Mojang confirmed that caves and cliffs would lower the build height, even below ground in older chunks. How this would happen was still unknown. I continued the project. Another thing that happened was the discovery of the backdoored massive chasm created at Imp Space 2. I was kind of annoyed at it since its sheer size would overshadow the void I was making. It had already been filled in with bedrock and didn't really count as a void anymore though. Although we were multiple people who contributed, I was the person who destroyed the most bedrock. Likely around 80% was removed single-handedly by me, but we didn't count the numbers. In total we destroyed 51,254 bedrock. The bedrock may have been finished in September, but it took until February to clear out everything and finish the wall design. While I was removing bedrock, I decided to remove one extra layer, and a bit more in order to be able to make a good-looking wall design. That's why the void is 130 by 130. But then when it came to actually play the sky block, getting multiple people in different time zones online at the same time is harder than you'd think, so we couldn't actually get a recording of everyone playing the sky block together. During all this, the test server had been running with the main map on 1.18, and I anticipated that it wouldn't be long until 2B2T updated. As the absolute annoyance housemaster is, he declared that all void holes would be filled in 1.18. On March 31st, One day before April Fools, I started playing the Skyblock on my own and recorded around 20 minutes of gameplay, which is what you're seeing now. Since then we have played a small bit, but the island remains mostly the same. I'm planning on streaming a continued playthrough not long after this video releases, so stay tuned. So, that's my story on the server. There are many things I didn't cover due to various reasons, but I think you now have a clear understanding of what I've been up to. Since I finished The Void and the last year, however, not much has happened. Maybe after 5 years I'm finally letting go off the server. Or I'm still in burnout from The Void. There are things I still haven't done in 1.12 yet, so I'm not gonna quit anytime soon or anything like that. But hey, I still make map art from time to time, and sometimes I pop back in just to build something random. The saying goes that you can quit 2B2T how many times you want, but you can never leave. So, are we ever really gone? In any case, onwards to another 5 years. And thanks for watching.